Hello there, and welcome to the newest Marvel podcast. We are the Fantastic Three. I'm Dean, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Ashley and Reese.
On this podcast, we will be looking at fan theories, debunking the newest trailers, and diving into all things Marvel. Please like, follow, and subscribe to all forms of our social media at TF3Pod.
Listen along on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. You can also watch along on YouTube as well. You'll find us under the name The Fantastic Three.
Hello and welcome. We are doing a Morbius review and reaction. We've just seen it. We are literally 2 weeks late, but we had issues with Limitless. And we also, I don't know, we weren't really interested in it. But we finally went and saw it, and I ain't gonna lie, I didn't think it was that bad.
No,
I don't think it was the worst.
No.
Some of the reviews I saw were slating it, and I actually personally don't think it was the worst film I've ever seen.
Could have been better. But
it could have been better, but I don't think it was the worst.
No.
Especially because they're introducing the character. Their whole end game plan is going to be Sinister Six, which you get at the end, and really, that's really what the film is about. It's like the Venom 2. Venom 2 was wasn't pointless. It wasn't
just
that
to
great
get the other
either.
symbiotes everywhere else, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then they needed the end credits for Spider-Man to lead up to Spider-Man. But Reese,
I think Morbius was good. I thought it was okay.
Yep.
I think it was better than Venom 2.
Ooh.
Which is, I know that's strong. I think the reason people don't like it is because it's someone new and it's something just. But realise as well, this film was originally meant to come out in like 2019, wasn't it? 2019, 2020. Yep. Like it's nearly like it's been like 3 years in the making. It's not gonna be. I think if it came out when it should have come out and we got everything else with it, I thought it would have made a lot more sense. But look, I don't think it was bad as people were first making out. I'll be completely honest. Some things I think could have been better. Some things I think could have been better. And I think some things could have been a lot worse. You know, they could have done a lot worse with some of the stuff. But I thought it was all right. Look, granted, it's not no BAFTA winning film. We know that. And we knew we weren't going to get that. If you thought you was going to get that, then I'm sorry. Then that's on you. Because if you'd expected fantastic filmmaking and fantastic film, cinema standard, I don't know really what I'm trying to go.
Like Marvel kind of
if
film,
you
knew you
like
were never
Spider-Man, if you wanted like the Spider-Man No Way Home or Far From Home, whatever, if you wanted them, then this ain't the film for that. This is a little introduction film. It's one of the little hour and a half that they do, like the Venom, like Sony's little films, just to introduce someone and to set things up. That's all. It was a setup, just like Venom. It's a setup.
The problem with it is, I think as well, is the fact that a lot of people have not a stereotype, but like a thing with Sony films, especially the Marvel type Sony films, and people before they're even released, it gets slated.
Absolutely,
and that's the problem. And then also the film has been brought out when they did Endgame, which knocked out the park. Then they did Spider-Man, which knocked out the park. I don't even think Eternals was that bad. They had Shang-Chi, that wasn't even that bad.
Black Widow.
And then they had the TV shows. So you had WandaVision, which was good. Then you had the Winter Soldier and what it's called, Falcon and Winter Soldier. That one wasn't too bad.
Loki.
Understand why they did that. Loki, and then you had what's that one?
Moon Knight.
And then you got Moon Knight now. So, and Marvel and Sony, their films are so different.
100%.
And the way they're made is so different. That's like when people compare a Marvel film to a DC film. Like DC don't really use a lot of CGI, or if they do use CGI, they make it try and look as realistic as possible. Whereas Marvel was a bit more, they'll try and CGI pretty much everything. So there's that. It's the way different companies work, and I think the problem with Sony is I think they just get slated purely for the fact of their other films. I don't think the Amazing Spider-Man were that bad. They got a lot of hate, and they weren't even that bad.
Not being funny. Look at now. Look, everyone wants Garfield to have another film.
That's what I'm
Where
saying.
were
Yeah.
these people when these films come out? Just
Yeah,
because all of a sudden
exactly.
all the three Spider-Mans get together and you now want to like
Yep.
them all again. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Sony just gets so much hate for just unnecessary reason, and I think because they expect Sony to be matching Disney, and I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. You're not going to match Disney. You won't match Disney. Same as Fox. Fox. I know they haven't got X-Men now, but Disney will do a better if they do X-Men, they will do a better X-Men than Fox would, because it's just Disney have more. They have more research. They have more license to do things and just go for things.
And we all know that if Disney owned Spider-Man and all of the assets, so like the Sinister Six, we all know that this film would have been a lot better 100%. Than it was done.
Yeah, 100%.
We all know that, but we can't, and we're not going to get anything else because Sony are not going to sell it. So we just got to get on with it.
100%.
So you just got to kind of look at it as it's what we're going to get. Just watch it.
What about you, Ash? What do you think?
And I thought it was, as I said, it could have been better, but I didn't. I mean, it was all. It's one of those. I don't think I'd go and see it again, but it's one of those like sort of introduction films. It's one of those films. It's there. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The actual design of Morbius, I thought was quite creepy. I didn't really like. I mean, Matt Smith's one, I think, looked a little bit like when you looked at Morbius himself, he actually looked like it was real. The CGI
looked very comic book-esque.
Yeah, that's what I think they based it on. The cape and everything.
There was something about Milo's one that just looked too CGI. I mean, you looked at him when like Michael transformed into Morbius, it actually looked like it was a real guy turning into a vampire. But with Matt Smith, it looked like it looked like you could be like, that was done on a computer.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the violence, I think, as well. I did like the violence on it. I mean, I know that they did. Apparently,
they did it smart. Did you see how they did it? The violence.
Yeah.
They did it smart.
There and that.
No, they had no blood. You had pretty much no blood in it. It's like the scene where he's in the ship and he first becomes Morbius. Yeah. You see the one where he's like scratching his hand along the railing. Yeah. And then he slashes that guy's neck. In most films, you'll see blood just go. It will just come out. It'll gush out because that's what happens. But they didn't. Yeah. But you can see the guy holding his neck, so you obviously knew he got slashed, and then he did it again. But because they're trying to keep it PG-13, they didn't show any form of blood. The only blood you see is around his mouth.
With blood, there was a bit when I think he sliced someone, and a bit of blood like splattered on the corner of the screen for a little bit, which I noticed as well. And I liked it, the fact that they could get away with like showing, like they showed you the bit with the pictures of all the dead people on the boat, because it was all in black and white, so they could show you, like, you could see all the blood like on the blokes, but obviously it didn't look like blood because obviously the pictures were in black and white.
There was like a couple of Spider-Man hints though. There was one where on the Daily Bugle at the bottom where they said a superhero hasn't been seen within, I think it was like 80 days. Yeah, so that could have been referring to either Spider-Man.
Well, it'd be Spider-Man with Electro. I think it was. Yeah,
because don't forget Garfield said that, in Thingy, he said in Spider-Man No Way Home he took a break. He took 150 days or whatever it was, or saying that a month's out because of what happened to Gwen Stacy. He didn't want to do it anymore, so they could have been referring to that because we don't know how far this time is up.
Well, because it's realistically we filmed a while ago, so you're trying. It was, you got a Black Cat reference, didn't you? It was like friend or foe, and then you got Rhino on the loose as well. Yep. But then we got that. I know we got that from the trailer as well, didn't we? But there was a lot that we didn't see on the film that we saw on the trailer. Like the one thing I did like, I must admit, is Matt Smith's character Milo, where you see him in the subway, where in the trailer you see him as just the Milo as his human form, but in the movie that was him in his vampire form. And where he was running, I thought that was quite a cool reference. I like that. I like that because then it doesn't. I know everyone knew that he was playing Milo as to be the villain as such, but if you was a neutral and didn't understand it, and you just looked at the trailer, you just think that's a normal person. So I enjoy that. I thought that was quite cool.
I just think, and I know we said yesterday when we had a brief conversation about not having a second one, but I actually don't think a second one would be that bad, purely for the fact of. What was his girlfriend's name? Oh, I can't remember her name. Began with M, didn't it?
Oh, I forgot the name.
All right, begin with an M. With her, because she bit him, didn't she? To get because, like I was saying to you, if you, in like mythical things with vampires and stuff, if you drink a vampire's blood and then die, normally you come back as a vampire. But don't forget, Morbius never died.
No.
And he was never bit. So he's a self-made vampire. So he's a living vampire.
Yes.
Whereas now she's an actual vampire. She's a dead.
She's dead.
She's an undead vampire.
Martine, her name, wasn't it? Martine. In the comics, though, she does become a vampire.
Yes, and I saw that. She becomes a vampire. She actually wants to try and kill Morbius.
She wants to kill Morbius. She wants him.
She wants him to become dead, like her, because she's died. But yeah, but I thought that was quite cool. I like how they did, like they said, and they looked at the old books and stuff, and then she must have seen that in a book or something and seen that.
Yeah, because she was researching, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was looking at all the other bits.
So what universe do you think it's set in? Do we think it's
Andrew Garfield? He's gonna be.
It's definitely in the Venom one because obviously he said I am Venom.
Yeah,
and we know that they're not gonna have a new Venom in Tobey Maguire's one.
Yeah,
we don't know of the Venom yet in the MCU.
What was it? The police officer, didn't he? Turned around and said when they saw all the bodies, he said we haven't had an incident like this in San Francisco.
Yeah. That was referring to Venom, innit? Yeah. The
end credits were good though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found it very. Excuse me. I found it very confusing. Not confusing, but like
random.
The
end credits.
Yeah. No. They were good, but we was obviously taught from Spider-Man that if you were brought in, you get and then taken away. But it was just a bit strange. You brought someone in who hasn't got any. They're not known. They're not a person in this universe. They've got no assets. They've got no nothing. They have nothing. You know, they literally gone into prison. They've got no money, no ID, no passport, no nothing. But yet all of a sudden he's got a vulture suit. But we know it's not the same suit. But you know how it's just the logistics of that. I feel is a bit.
See, I think what's happened is like I said, like we were talking about yesterday. I think what's happened is I think Strange's spell is to stop people from coming into his universe. But if you've left his universe, because he's the one from that universe, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's left that universe. Strange has shut the portal, so anyone coming. So Strange has got. So he's done a spell where he's pushed people out of it. That's why no one else could come in. But he's not done a spell to bring people back. So
people back. Oh, I see what you mean.
So that's why he's stuck there, because it seems like he teleported there, and then they said about they got to go to trial in a few days to see if it actually who he is and what he is and all this. Whereas Strange's spell looked like it happened in the morning, finished at night, and that was it. And then he meets Morbius weeks later. It looks like, or days later. So he's obviously stuck there. And he turns around and goes, "I'm still trying to find my feet around this place." So he's obviously met someone. Yeah. He's obviously met someone that makes the suit or knows who made the suit.
Well, because his suit before was made out of vibranium, and it was made out of not vibranium. It was made out of the Chitauri, wasn't it? It was made out of the Chitauri metal. So what's it going to be? You know,
isn't this suit the suit that's in the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2?
No, see, I thought it was. It's not, because I went back and looked. The end credits, that was a fluffy suit, like the comic book esque. So like you have the feathers, like a vulture of the bird. This one was very just metallic and robot-y. You know, I don't know. No, I looked back and went back, but I don't know.
As I said, there must be a Spider-Man in this universe, because he turned around and said, he goes, I think I'm here because of Spider-Man. We should team up and do some good. And all that sort of stuff. So he's obviously still got it in for Spider-Man, but I'm just wondering whether he'll maybe try and figure out.
I'm on the other way. Don't forget, Spider-Man saved him at the end of that film.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's not going to be the same Spider-Man. So at the end of the day, he shouldn't really have a vendetta against whatever Spider-Man this is going to be, because it wasn't. It was the Tom Holland Spider-Man that done him over.
Yeah, I also think that he wants to help a Spider-Man. Maybe I can see us maybe getting a Miles Morales Spider-Man in this universe. Because don't forget, we're getting Kraven the Hunter. That's been said that this is going to be this universe. That's currently filming. We're getting a Madam Web with Dakota Johnson. That's due to start filming soon.
I saw that.
It's a heavily linked that Mysterio is not dead and could be a part of any new Sony project.
But then that makes sense. And if they use the Mysterio from Thingy, because he could have done the same as Vulture, and he could have gone, oh, there's a portal here. No one knows me in this time. I'm going to go. And he's hopped off.
Absolutely.
It takes out the Mysterio from our universe, or our universe, from the MC universe, but they can always make a thing, because obviously they got rid of everyone that came in. That's why Venom disappeared.
Yeah, so then you're gonna, because they've linked, they rumored Black Cat, so you'll probably see some form of Black Cat. Rhino again, we got sort of left in a win with Rhino. I think Rhino you're definitely gonna see, because obviously the end film of Andrews, of the Amazing Spider-Man, if you're gonna call it that, instead of Andrew all the time.
Also, you see in the portal when it opens, you see the actual rhinos in, like, the one that's got in the original one where it was like a skin tight suit type. Rhino.
Well, it was also like, if you in the film, Milo said that he annoyed some Russian gang. That could be a little link to Rhino as well, because Rhino's of Russian descent as well. So I just think, like we say, it was a setup. Like Venom was a setup to bring many symbiotes in the MCU and to have another few symbiotes knocking around in the thingy. I reckon we could possibly see like Venom versus this Sinister Six now. Maybe not including a Spider-Man. Maybe just have a movie where, I know everyone wants to see a Spider-Man. Spider-Man's so big for brand, and it's Spider-Man. If you're a little kid, and if you're a kid or if you have children, and everyone knows who Spider-Man is. If you went and spoke to your nan, your granddad, your aunt, everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Even before these films,
because they were massive comics as well. They were big comics. Everyone knows who Spider-Man is. But I'd love them to maybe just try and do a film where you've got the Sinister Six, where the Venom and Spider-Man are teaming up against them instead of just being Spider-Man as a lone Spider. I know Spider-Man is normally a lone character, and he doesn't fight with anyone. I know the latest Spider-Man film was a rarity, so you have the three, but I just think it would be nice to change to maybe have a film without him, or not, because then people won't expect so much. People will always expect like that. This film, the people saying this film was rubbish is because they expected a Spider-Man. If Andrew Garfield was in this film, no one would be slating this film the way they have.
If he was in it, even if he was in it for like 5-10 minutes, people's rate it would instantly add 2-3 ratings if you were anything 5 or below.
100%.
But it's like Vulture, by the looks of it, in the trailers, was meant to be like one of the main villains. He looked like it was like there was 2 villains in this. It looked like it was going to be Vulture and.
It's the first. Don't forget that.
Cut to the end.
It's also the first time that they've ever used end credits in the trailer.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. Never done that before.
Interesting to know why Sony done it. Like, surely all the hype and that they got from No Way Home and that,
they must have realistically looked at it and gone, we have nothing really that interesting to show to pull people in.
Yeah,
realistically, that's what they've done, and then they've gone.
Unless because this film's been delayed so much, unless all the stuff that was going to be shown was going to be a build up to No Way Home, and because No Way Home came out before this, they've maybe gone, oh, what's the point in putting that in there when it's already happened? We might as well take it out.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad show.
What was due first? Because Spider-Man was also delayed. Was Spider-Man
was meant to be out, I think it was like July. I don't know when Morbius was, I think, meant to be out about.
Before Spider-Man? Or before Spider-Man?
I think Morbius was coming out about April time 2020, and then Spider-Man was coming out July 2020 or something like that. So I reckon all the stuff you probably find it would have left loads of questions like, oh my God, what's that? And then Spider-Man No Way Home answers that, because obviously now that has come out before this, they've probably gone, well, what's the point in having it when it's just literally going to be, there's going to be the questions have already been answered. What's the point?
Well, we got the runes of Kafka spell in Venom, didn't we? The end credits of Venom. So it's not like they was going to give anything away, because we sort of knew that there was something lining up for Spider-Man anyway. So I suppose, I'm certain it was meant to come out first. I just think if that come out first and then you got Spider-Man, I really don't think people will be slandering it the way it is. And like I'm saying, I think it gets slandered because as soon as Spider-Man aired and as soon as we got Spider-Man, Morbius, the directors and all that come out and said, we're not ready, give us another month. And then people's brain automatically went,
but then as soon as
God, Andrew's in it. Yes. And then
they shot himself in the foot as well because they come out and the film hadn't even been released. It had only been shown to a few people, and then they kind of ruined it straight away.
The director ruined it on Twitter, didn't he? He was giving the plot away on Twitter.
Yeah, he said the end credits scene before the film had even come out.
Yeah,
that doesn't help. That doesn't help anybody. But,
he did, didn't he? He turned around and said, he goes, he goes, don't expect Michael Keaton's Vulture in the whole film. He's just going to be in the end credits.
Well, he was explaining some of the storyline as well, wasn't he? He was like, that doesn't help the film either.
But I had no hope in this film because I said if a director's going to come out and basically tell you everything about it, they must have known that it was going to
Yeah, I just think this film really could have been something, and I do, and I think it may be if they do a second, there is a bit of redemption by adding other. I don't think it can just be a solo Morbius film again. I think you've got to add some other. I think Sony need a team up. They need a team up like the MCU, like they do with the Avengers. They need a Sinister Six team up. Even if you do good Sinister Six versus the bad team of Sinister Six, because Venom's an anti-hero. So is Morbius. They're anti-heroes. They're not necessarily they don't want to be the villains. They don't want to be villains. Even if you see a team up like that, where Vulture now isn't a villain, he's now an anti-hero. Maybe we see that sort of side to him. Huh? That's what I just think that would be quite cool.
It'll be interesting to see whether they do a second one because I said when Venom came out, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we want a second one. We want a second one." I haven't seen many people online asking for a second Morbius.
I think they will. I don't think they'll leave it now. Now that lady's got is a vampire, I don't think they will leave it. Yeah. Why would you? You wouldn't. They would set it up for a second one and not do it. But then they did it with.
But then you say that they set up the Sinister Six, didn't they? The end scenes of Amazing Spider-Man, and then didn't do it. But the only thing I will say is though, I think if we see them next, I think we're heavily going to see Venom and Morbius combined now. I think we're going to see Sony's time to maybe start linking things up, like you get with the MCU, where they, Thor Ragnarok, and it had half of the Marvel in, where you get the Hulk and you get your logo, you get all that. But I think now next time you see the Venom, because don't forget Venom 3, that could be a big film because you've got Stephen Graham. I forgot who he played. He played the cop, didn't he? He's now got a symbiote. He's now got a symbiote. You've got. They reckon Noel, the leader of the symbiote, that he's linked to be in it soon. And then I reckon you could see a Vulture and Morbius linking in with that. I'm for it, but not a single Morbius film, like a solo film again. I'm not for that. I don't think that's going to work.
I've got a feeling what they'll do is I reckon they'll do the next one that comes out is Kraven the Hunter in it. I reckon at the end
obviously,
yeah, I reckon at the end of Kraven the Hunter, you'll have Vulture and Morbius in the end credits. Then they'll do another Venom film, and then at the end of that, you'll have Kraven the Hunter, Morbius, and Vulture.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Madam Web get an intro as well. Once you tried to get Madam Web to get an introduction as well. Yeah, she's massive.
One of the films, they'll just set up the Sinister Six. Maybe about 3
her
or 4
powers are unreal. She's got multiversal powers. So, the
problem
she could be big.
Morbius is quite powerful. He's quite powerful anyway, but
for a street level villain,
controls bats now.
Yeah,
the scene that reminded me of like a Batman scene.
Very Batman.
When he goes into you remember when he goes into the cave and he's surrounded by the bats.
And with Alfred's in the cave, isn't it? Yeah.
Even I swear I heard the Batman theme in it, like the bit when he walks inside the glass.
Do you know? People were saying that. People were saying that there's apparently the same composition of music. Yeah. It's the same piano keys and things like that. But I don't know. That's
I also reckon there was at least 3 references actually to Matt Smith and being Doctor.
Oh yeah.
The one you said yesterday, and then there was 2 others. There was one when you first see him, he's the time is 11 o'clock, and then when you see him as a kid,
it was 10 to 11.
It's 10 to 11. Like that, yeah. So he's coming up so close to becoming 11.
Oh, I see. And then the one that I noticed was when he turns around and says, "How do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10?"
And he
And then
11.
he said 11,
Yeah.
and obviously him being the 11th Doctor.
Yeah, I see that.
Right. Should we wrap it up with ratings? Or is anyone got anything else?
No, I'm done. There's not much to talk about. It was a very. That's the only other thing I will say as well. Quickly, I think Matt Smith's character carried this show quite a lot. Actually, I'll be completely honest.
Quality.
But the story lacked just something. It was too.
Yeah.
It was. You knew it was going to happen. I'm sorry. It was so easy. The story, you just knew so and so was going to die, or so and so was this, and so it was just so obvious. Whereas you just needed a maybe like a cliffhanger, or I know maybe her turning into a vampire is a cliffhanger, but I just think we missed a bit of just something to keep you on the edge of your seats. You could sit back with your feet up, arms crossed, all film. There was nothing to get you up and go, oh wow. It was just very, we expected that. Yeah, we expected that. I just think that's what we missed, unfortunately.
I also don't think Jared Leto was that bad.
No,
I just think he gets dealt bad hands.
How many films?
I actually don't think he's a bad. I don't think he's a bad actor.
Me neither.
And he gets given big roles as well. I just think he's given.
I think there's just
scripts and stuff.
Jared Leto.
I think he needs to work with one director that takes him under his wing, and because like if you're a director and you're looking, someone goes, "Oh, Jared Leto could play that role," and you go, "Oh, yeah, but look at this film, flop. Look at this film, flop. Look at this film, average." And whereas people are going to go, do you know what? I'll shy away from him. I'll use someone else. Whereas I think if a good director took him under his role, like I'm generally being serious, if Kevin Feige took him under his role, I really don't think he'll be bad in the MCU.
Yeah.
If that Morbius was in the MCU and he was playing in the Disney in our MCU with Disney Studios,
yeah, it would be good.
I think it'd be amazing. I really do. But I just certain directors, and not even necessarily saying it's directors' fault, but certain studios. I completely agree with you, Dean. Jared Leto got dealt a bad card there because I think he played it really well. And I must admit, I think the suit and his appearance were very, not the suit, but his appearance and like costume, some of the costumes he was wearing was very comic book-esque, you know?
Yeah.
I think it looked, and I think it looked cool, but yeah, I don't know.
It was all right, I thought.
This is our honest review, and we want to be honest with you guys, and we do.
Yeah, we didn't want to come on here and slate it like everyone else.
I'm not
when we
going
didn't actually agree to slate it.
Yeah, and like we said, we're not going to slate it because we don't think it was that bad. We don't think it was amazing, but it wasn't terrible. I saw people on Twitter saying they walked out after 20 minutes. If you walked out after 20 minutes, I'm sorry, that's a complete waste of money and a complete waste of your time because
I agree.
It wasn't that bad to walk out. And it's not that bad. It really wasn't that bad to walk out. I'll be completely honest.
Right, Ashley, rating out of 10. You gave it last night a 5 after sleeping on it.
Yeah,
what are you giving it now?
Looking back and thinking on it, probably about a 6.5.
6.5.
I'd say probably about a 6.5, about 6.5. I'd say.
Right. Reese, well, you gave it a 6 last night.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to give it now after sleeping on it?
After sleeping on it, I still think it's a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still going to give it a 7.
What about you?
7. I gave it a 7.
See, that's strong. That's a big review.
Yeah, because I didn't actually mind it.
No,
like I said, I actually thought it was all right. There was not one point where I was actually like, I'm going to fall asleep or I'm bored of this. Like, I actually was quite interested in the actual film.
Yeah.
Like, I quite liked it. The only negative I had, and which is what we said when we come out, was the ending. I thought the end fight was so anticlimactic.
Yeah. It was over like that.
Yeah, it was done, and that's my only real negative to it. But,
no sort of like speeches in like you're going to do this, you're going to. It was literally a case of summon the bats, boom, you're down, stab, done.
Yeah, pretty much. But all right, well, that's it. Done for today's Morbius review reaction type thing for this podcast today. We will be back. Well, this will either be before or after we do our Moon Knight review of Moon Knight episode 3. So if you want to listen to that, or if you've listened to that and you're listening to this because of that, I haven't really decided what way we're going to go with it. But we will, thank you for listening. Don't forget to watch this on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Don't forget to follow us on all forms of our social media at TF3Pod. We're on TikTok where we do little clips of the episodes.
Behind the scene videos as well. Yeah.
Yep. Instagram when we tag photos, even of like us now. Twitter is more of a formal one where we do try and do interactions and stuff. And if you've got any questions about any of the Moon Knight stuff, just drop us tweet us or anything on TikTok or anything,
anything on Marvel, just drop us a tweet.
and then we'll question it and we'll answer it either in the podcast or to you directly. Right, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.